What's happening, guys? My name is Anthony, and finally we are back with a league racing video. It has been a long time since we last did a league racing video. I think it's been at least 4 or 5 months now since then, and there's a lot of new faces on the channel. So welcome to the league racing content on my channel, and let's get straight into PSGL round 1 at Portimao. And quickly before we get into the video, shout outs to Max Wayne, James Malcolm and Robert Grinstead for subscribing to the channel recently. As usual, if you guys want to be featured in the subscriber shout outs in these videos, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. So getting into this race in particular, I was very nervous going into it just because of how long it has been since I've been in a serious league racing setting with people of my own skill level. But going into this one, you can see now we're all out at the same time, slowing each other down on our outlaps, and that's because going into it, Jeff had said that it was going to rain pretty much as soon as qualifying started. So everyone wanted to get out on the soft tires just to make sure that they get that run going into the qualifying session, so that they can at least say, okay, I've got this soft run. It means that it's not going to be beaten once it starts raining. Jeff did say that it was going to be raining for the entirety of qualifying, and though PSGL have it on approximate, sometimes Jeff can be right even on approximate, so none of us really wanted to take that risk. So as you can see now, just starting our first time lap, and in practice I was doing 16 ones, pretty much just consistently 16 ones. I know I can go quicker than that because my PB on this track is a 15.8. Obviously with the rain potentially coming, the track not being as quick, I wasn't expecting to do roughly those times, maybe 16.2s, maybe 16.3s, if I can actually got a solid lap in. But we'll see how our first sector was. It was quite cautious, not as aggressive as I would like to be, as we did a 21.9 first sector, which isn't amazing, but obviously due to the fact that the track is slowed down, you are going to see slower sector times. But coming into turn 7 and the infamous turn 8, now you can see in turn 7 I took too much curb and we end up sliding through turn 7 and a little bit of a slide through turn 8 as well, which lost us a heap hold of time just throughout this lap, because turn 7 and turn 8 is where you can really lose a lot of time very quickly. But you can see now that Dovsky, I'm sorry, I have no idea how to pronounce his name, but he done a 16.3, which was what I was personally expecting to do. But with that first sector time, I realized a 16.3 is probably not going to be possible, especially with the incident happening in turn 7 and turn 8. I wanted to see exactly what sort of times we could get anyway, so we continue the lap. Obviously we don't want to abort the lap just in case it starts raining and we finish even further down, and we end up with a provisional P9, which isn't great, but it does start raining very, very soon. You can see now that bugger off is on the intermediates, but weirdly enough, yeah, you might be quite confused as to what you're seeing right now. My teammate Days Rhombus is currently on sauce and he's not sliding around. He's gripped up pretty well, and this is due to a bug, a recent bug that I've never really noticed up until now, where what happened is he ended up leaving the session and joining back before it started raining, and because he joined back after it started raining, for him the track was still completely dry, even though as you can see for everybody else it was Inter's conditions, and because of that he was actually able to beat my time on soft tires in wet conditions. And I was actually a little bit confused at the time because I thought maybe it wasn't wet enough as we thought. Maybe it was actually going to dry up, and I was actually thinking that maybe Days has actually finessed the entire grid. But no, it was definitely Inter's conditions, and it definitely wasn't going to be getting any dry anytime soon. So it definitely was a bug, which is a shame, because a bug like this can be the difference between someone getting pole and someone starting in P17 or something like that. So it is a pretty big bug when you actually sit there and think about it. But yeah, as you can see, everyone ended up retiring from the session due to it not being any drier throughout that session, and we're going to be starting in P15 for our first race in PSGL. Okay, so here we are now, just finishing the formation lap. The nerves are at their all-time high right now. I am in my stomach. I am absolutely bricking it at this moment of time. Just hoping to get a good start off of the line and try and not get into any incidences going into turn 1. It is the first race of the season as well, so you do have to remember that people are a little bit rusty, but we've got 3, 4, 5, red lights for the Portimao GP in PSGL, and lights out and away we go. Starting on the medium tires, we get a pretty decent start. Around us, I think everyone else got a relatively decent start as well. There wasn't anyone that got a bad start, and you can see now just trying to give the Williams of Bogorov just as much space as possible. I don't want to have any wing damage throughout this race because it will kill our race, so I'm just trying to thread the needle here. You can see just trying to navigate through everyone, and it's quite chaotic, it's quite tight. Especially, you can see now I have to actually move out of the way of the McLaren, brake a little bit too deep, but it does give us the opportunity to go down the inside of Bogorov. And now we were in P11, but we ended up having contact with Bogorov as well, which lost us a little bit of momentum. Actually, it wasn't Bogorov, sorry, it was Will Gibson that we had the contact with. And yeah, so we had to sort of give the position to Moonfall because we just didn't have the momentum that he had coming out of that corner. And now it's just about just trying to stick with these guys. Now you can see how much time we've lost just due to all the battling that was going on towards the start of the race there. You can see we've lost about, I want to say maybe 3 to 5 seconds already, and it's only lap 1. So it was quite frustrating to see that because we basically lost the chance of getting a decent amount of points from the very first lap, and you can see that everyone is still battling on the first lap. I mentioned it on stream. I was quite frustrated on stream because everyone was battling as if it was the final lap, which if you're new to league racing, you don't really want to be battling this early on because all you're going to do is just lose time to the guys ahead. And you can see now we're already about 7 seconds, our little train of cars, as I have a massive moment of oversteer there. Our train of cars is like 7 seconds behind the point guys. So yeah, this is going to be a very tough race. We're really going to need the luck of a safety car or something if we do want to get some decent points here. But you can see that Bogorov, he did pass us on the exit of that previous corner. Still battling with him. Probably should have just let him go and focused on sticking with these guys, but I just wanted the position. I was quite frustrated at that point as we have another moment going into turn 7, which luckily for us doesn't actually end up being a repeat offense from us during this race, as Will Gibson ended up going wide at turn 8. That was a bit unfortunate for him. He lost a load of positions, and then AM as well, he goes wide going into this corner. Very easy to just have a little bit of a lock up and end up going wide. Has a little bit of a battle with us, but then he just gives the position up because he doesn't want to lose any time on the guys ahead, which is the very smart thing to do. We're going on to lap 5 now. We're still behind C-Max here. We have a big moment through turn 8. They are wide oversteer, and that gives Danny Cole the opportunity to go down our inside here. He does go for the move here, but we have a pretty good corner ourselves. We were able to defend it quite well, and I thought that was going to be it, to be honest. We have lost quite a bit of time to C-Max as well, and you can see he goes down the inside. He's just diving down every corner, and I was really frustrated at this point because, again, when you're doing stuff like this, all you're really doing is just losing time to the guys ahead because they're not battling, which means they're able to take the most optimum line, and they just end up gaining a load of time on. You can see that C-Max now is 2.3 seconds ahead already. I decided to just let my teammate go because at this moment of time I felt as if maybe he was a stronger driver, maybe he had the chance to catch up to everyone, and plus without DRS we pretty much got smothered. But you can see that Danny Cole, he had a massive mistake there. I'm not sure what happened. I don't know if he made contact with Days Rhombus, but that gave us the opportunity to sort of just sneak back into the position that we had, which was right behind our teammate. And now I've got a battle with Will Gibson here. He's got 9 seconds of penalties already, so I'm not sure if maybe he had an incident where he got instant penalties. That can happen at Portugal. It's not the best track for track limits, to be honest with you. But as you can see now, moving on to lap 7, we end up passing Will Gibson, and now we have to catch up to our teammate, which in a couple laps we managed to do, which made me realize that we are actually the quicker driver out of the 2 Aston Martins because we're on the same tires, and I managed to pull about 2 seconds in a couple of laps. So you can see now we've got DRS, and we've only got 40% of ERS, which is not a lot, but Portimao is a very ERS hungry track. Even if you save, you're still not going to have a lot, but we had a lot comparative to everyone around us, and that allowed us to make the move on our teammate. And now it's all about just pushing in clean air and trying to potentially make up time to C-Max, just so that we can catch up to that guy ahead at least and make up another position. So we've moved all the way on to lap 19 now, and that is because we're going into the pits. The stint has been complete, and you can see we're still ahead of Days Rhombus. We had incredible pace on these mediums, and I decided to be proactive in this race and actually go for the undercut. I asked you guys in chat what lap is the best to pit on the mediums. You guys said lap 20. I decided to pit at the end of lap 19 just so that I can go for the undercut. And as we come out, you can see we go a little bit wide here at turn 1. Luckily we didn't get a warning. You can see there's some people in front of us with penalties, and I thought that maybe penalties could potentially come into factor by the end of the race, and in reality it kind of does, but it kind of doesn't at the same time, which you guys will see more on. But yeah, now we're on the softs. I wasn't as, believe it or not, I wasn't actually as confident on the softs as I was the mediums. I feel as if I did make this setup for the mediums, and that is a thing. If you didn't know, I might make a video on it at some point, but sometimes certain setups actually do feel better on different compounds of tires, and I'll probably explain why that is in that video if I decide to make it. But you can see now we come, well, the teammates come out of the pits, and we just managed to get the undercut there, and we ended up getting out of DRS, which was good for us, because it means that we could potentially break away from Dave's Rhombus, which also means we could break away from Kevin, who I felt was quite quick on the mediums but was just held up, so he could potentially be a threat on those soft compounded tires. You can see now he's already gotten past Dave's Rhombus, which wasn't great news for me. And you can see a couple laps later, on lap 25 now, he's caught up, he's in DRS, and I'm going for the defensive move here. He goes down the inside, we end up getting a penalty, and we end up hitting him as well, which caused a lot of issues. This race, it was quite frustrating, because there were times I felt as if we wasn't off track, but yet we still got warnings for it, and I was going to appeal it in the PSGL Discord server. However, I forgot to, which, to be honest, you'll see why at the end that it doesn't really matter that I forgot to do it, because honestly, it wasn't like we were battling for, you know, a podium position or anything. So I guess in hindsight, didn't really matter all too much. But the pace on the softs was pretty much as much as you would expect it to be honest. Got all the way up to lap 33 now, and we're still behind Kevin. We've got that 3 seconds. Dazed also has that 3 seconds, and sadly we wasn't able to get within 3 seconds of Cymax, which means that we end up finishing this race in P11, which was quite frustrating. If we had appealed that 3 second time penalty and got it removed, then we could have potentially gotten a point, which would have been nice, especially in the first race, especially after those first couple of laps. However, as I said, I forgot to do it within the time limit, which means my appeal will no longer be valid now, which kind of sucks, but at the same time, it's only a point that I would end up receiving, which it could be the difference by the end of the season, but for now, this season for me is mainly just getting myself back into league racing, getting my feet wet in a very competitive league, and just seeing how I do. We're in the F4 tier, which is pretty good as well. I did think that I could get in the F3 tier, but to be honest, I did want to be in the F4 tier more, just to give me that sort of ability to not sweat as much and just come back into league racing quite easy. But yes, when it comes to league racing, guys, I'm only going to be doing PSGL for now. Potentially might do another league down the line, maybe even on the next game we might go back to the format of having 2 league races, but for now it's just going to be 1. I'm looking forward to being in this league. It's quite competitive, and the drivers seem to be quite quick as well in terms of their overall raw pace, so it's going to be quite tough this season. I'm looking forward to it though. Let me know in the comment section if you want to see weekly league racing videos back on the channel. If you do, make sure to smash that like button and hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed already, and I'll catch you guys in my next video.